want to reach out to those who, aren't educated about animal welfare and how to protect it.
And you're not required to do that.
It's my calling now to help give back in that regard and try to help as much as I can.
Do you have a dog yourself? Hello, I'm Lee Hawkins, and welcome to the Business of Celebrity, where I take you behind the businesses and the brands of America's top newsmakers and celebrities. Today, I'm with Michael Vick at a celebrity golf tournament just outside Atlantic City, where he's raising money for the Boys and Girls Club, but also, believe it or not, for animal welfare causes. I'm talking to him about his ongoing quest to restore his brand and his image and the upcoming Philadelphia Eagles football season. Here's what he had to say. A lot has happened since we last talked.
Yeah.
I just want to go over a few of those things. You signed a deal worth, it's estimated $80 million with the Philadelphia Eagles. You've gotten your endorsement deal with Nike back. Not to mention another deal as well, in addition to the Unequal Technologies deal that you already had. You've made significant progress towards settling all of your bankruptcy obligations. You have a new book coming out called Finally Free. Tell me about that title, first of all, Finally Free. What's it about?
Finally Free represents me as an individual venturing outside of the box that I was in, the things that I believed in, the people who I trusted in, whether wrong or right. Going into a new realm of life and what I've become over the past 3 years since I've left prison. Me freeing myself up from I think the things that held me back, the demons that were inside of me. Not that they were bad, but the irrational thoughts that I always had.
What kinds of businesses are you involved in now? I know we talked briefly about Team Vick and potentially apparel company. Yeah. I hear you're really close to making an announcement on that. What would that be?
This is a sports apparel brand, catering to, football, basketball, baseball, styling of clothing, which is comfortable. So, just still some moving parts that has to be taken care of, but, I think it's gonna be great for, for the consumer, for the kids, high school, the young kids who are Michael Vick fans.
And you've done a lot with your brand.
Yeah.
To restore equity in your brand. If you hadn't done that, then the project Team Vick wouldn't be viable.
It wouldn't be possible. And, I thank God that he gave me an opportunity to go out and prove myself once again. Like you said, I've restored my brand.
You really feel like you've restored it 100%?
Not 100%, because it's always going to be a work in progress. I would say, 65, 75%.
Is that a lot higher than you anticipated?
Oh yeah, it's way higher than I anticipated.
You're 32 years old, and you've already lived a lot in your life. I've seen it referred to as a rags to riches, rags then back to riches and redemption story. What do you think about when you think about your childhood and the things that you went through as a young person when you didn't have the money that you have now?
Obviously you think about, the environment that you grew up in and the struggle, the reason for the dream that you dreamt when you was young and what you aspired to be. In that environment, what it takes to get there, and what type of commitment and dedication you're gonna have to put forth in order to get there. And I made a commitment to myself at a young age and to my mom that I would, put forth the best effort to be the best individual that I could be in life and not to disappoint her.
I hear you're working really hard this summer. You're saying it's a football summer.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Man, I work harder than I ever worked before. I took no days off from the time the season ended because I wasn't satisfied with what happened last year. I really felt like, we could have accomplished more, and just don't want to leave any stones unturned. Throughout the duration of my career.
Really, most of your guaranteed money will be paid by the end of the season. So do you feel any pressure yourself to keep that job?
I mean, it's always pressure in the game of football. You always have guys behind you who want to play, and they should want to play. And you should never want to come off the field. I feel like I can go out and get the job done. I feel like I have the talent around me and enough people around me in order to, go out and have success this year. So, I don't run from adversity. I don't run from pressure situations. I run to it.
You're getting married.
Man, getting married, yeah.
How does that feel?
Well, different challenges in your life, different, different things that, come about when you feel like, you have to, make certain sacrifices. And, I've come to that point. So, I'm content with it. Praying that, everything works out.
Sure.
And, some things you just can't control, but I put it in the hands of God.
We're here at a celebrity golf outing where you're actually raising money for some causes that are very important to you. Tell me about, first of all, your work with animal welfare. What is the future for that?
The future will continue to move forward with the Humane Society
And what kind of work are you doing with it?
Speaking engagements and going to speak to the kids in urban communities and helping to bring awareness to the dog fighting situation and how it occurs and the origin of it and how to prevent it. We're looking forward to taking steps where I can be more involved, more proactive, taking that type of approach, and that's what the Michael Vick Foundation will cater towards. Just being more involved, trying to do more work. It's one thing to speak on it, but it's another role to be active in doing it. So those are steps that I want to take, and we're working towards it now.
There's probably no better advocate that the Humane Society could have, because you have the platform, you speak to the urban audience. Do you think that this is a calling for you now?
It's something that I should be doing based on what's transpired in my life, the experiences that I had, and I know I'm not the only one that's going to go through it, or the only one that's been exposed to it. And we have young kids growing each and every day in different communities, whether they're poverty-stricken or they're wealthy communities. You get exposed to certain things, and in certain places, in certain environments, you don't have the type of guidance, education, and counsel. So you kind of just go with the flow. I want to reach out to those who, aren't educated about animal welfare and how to protect it.
And you're not required to do that.
I'm only required to do the things that I wake up and commit myself to doing. And these are things that I feel like I'm obligated to do, because of some of my wrongdoings. But in a sense, turning it around to all for the better.
Will you be doing this for the rest of your life,
Probably.
the animal welfare
so.
cause?
Yeah, I think so. I'm passionate about animals, always have been, always will be, and that'll never change. So, it's my calling now to help give back in that regard and try to help as much as I can and save, even more animals, from being hurt. That was one of my commitments, and I'm gonna stick to it.
Do you have a dog yourself?
No, I don't have one.
Will you be able to get one, or do you want one?
I mean, when everything is clear, there will be opportunities. So, as of right now, just focused on football because, that's what I need to take care of right now.
The last time we talked, you said, there are some people out there that just are never going to forgive you. Do you feel that the people that had it within them to forgive Michael Vick have done so? Have you reached that point?
I think so. I think the people who have put it in their hearts to forgive me have done it. And, that's confirmation because I walk around, every day trying to fit in with everybody. And, I get great responses. I look for the people who are smiling, and I got a good feel for, for the world and how it works and how people move and what they understand and what they don't understand. And I just try to help them. There's plenty of people who've cost me millions of dollars in my life, took full advantage of me and what I built and what God gave me, and I forgave them. So, a lot of people don't go through situations where, they have to, forgive and forget, but I have, and I felt like I've been able to do that. So that I think, so they should too.
Thanks so much, Michael Vick.
Appreciate it.
Well, one thing that's clear from that conversation, Michael Vick's performance on and off the field over the next year will be critical. If you like this video, make sure you click like and subscribe to the Wall Street Journal's YouTube channel. I'm Lee Hawkins.